do you have some good guidance for moms of girls? We have a lot of girls who want to be like their friends, but also we don't want them to be like the world.
The social media piece is so prevalent in our kids' lives. And I would just tell you, wait as absolutely long as you can wait. They do not need social media in middle school. They do not, it is harder when they're in high school because that is the primary way that sports teams connect with you. Things, and you're kind of forced into that. But you can then get monitoring software that you can, and I always told them, the phone is not your phone, and the phone stays with me at night. And, until they reached a level of that maturity, they did not have that phone on them unless they were using it for something. And so I could monitor what they were doing. And I think that's key.
And that gives them a break too.
Yeah.
Because the standard of, we used to have, you're at school all day. Maybe you talked to your friends on the phone after school, but then you had a break and you were just with your family who adored you and loved you. And you weren't under this constant
barrage of everything
in the comparison. So anything you can do to pour in the good, pour in more the biblical perspective on things.
Hi, welcome to the Well Grounded Podcast. We are so excited to join you. I am Diane.
And I'm Leigh Ann.
And we are two lifelong friends journeying through coffee and conversations and a lot of Jesus. We are having just such a great time this season on our All Things Good season, going after Romans 8:28.
Yes.
And we have had quite the journey.
One of the really special things about this is you can follow and find us on YouTube if you want the video version.
Yes.
If you want to see our cute blazers that we have today, or you can listen to audio, which was my podcast preference before doing this. And now I really have found some are really fun on YouTube, but so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite is, wherever your friend's favorite podcast platform, send this to them, let them know about it. We really want to be an encouragement. And there's a lot of negativity in podcast land and complaining about this season of life and things. And we really want to say, even though some of those things are valid and intimidating and overwhelming, we know that God has the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And we really want to help center everybody back to that with this. So we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about motherhood. We talk about
parenting,
marriage, all of it,
siblings, family,
transitioning seasons, college kids, all of that. So we really try to also want to just highlight really quickly the resources that we put in the show notes each time. So we actually put some work into that, making sure that we're offering you other resources if you're the type that wants to read a little more, dig in a little more. A lot of what we're doing is the beginning of a conversation.
Yes.
And then today we're doing something really fun.
Yeah, we are.
We are answering questions from listeners, from moms, from wives who have questions about all
topics,
the things, all the topics.
So they are very random.
Shuffle.
We have our question cards here today, and we're just going to fire away and talk about those. And I just think it's really fun. We're in a season that is starting to get cooler weather. Officially, it has become fall. And so it's, maybe you're a big football fan and you've already been able to go to a high school football game or even a college football game. That's all just all in swing now. And it's a great time of year. It's one of my favorites. I really enjoy the fall season.
Yeah, this is going to be great. And we will be sharing more on socials and other things about that. I have a new, my youngest is now in college. And so we don't have any more at home.
I know. That's a big transition, a big thing. We're going to share a little bit about that tonight, actually.
Y'all send me some encouragement and DMs, please. Thank you. But it's
a new season.
We're embracing it.
Yes.
We could not be more thrilled for him and for the season that he's in and how God's worked out all those details.
All the details.
For his good. Right?
Yes, for his good.
All right.
Well, before we get going,
I really want to try this.
We're going to have our latte moment. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, we do a coffee recipe every single episode. And these are called our latte moments.
Diana's really outdone herself this season. So
they are a lot of homemade lot of interesting ones.
Yes.
And yeah, it's been a lot
they're
of fun.
legit. We're getting the real deal. So
yes. So this one, to go in full fall tradition, we had to start off with our homemade pumpkin spice latte.
I'm ready.
So this is a hot latte. You can do this also iced. And honestly, when you look at sometimes the pumpkin spice lattes, there can be like, you can just do a flavored coffee.
Right.
But this, you actually take your creamer and you can do pumpkin creamer and you add pumpkin pie spice to it.
Okay.
So there's a lot of pumpkin spice in it. So cheers.
Adding that next level to not just do what the flavored creamer
yes.
does. But
so you've got it in, you just use any type of coffee that you would like. You add pumpkin creamer with pumpkin spice, and I will tell you, this is the secret ingredient.
Okay.
At least based on this recipe, maple syrup.
It's good.
You put maple syrup in it, and that's your sweetener. And so all you do is mix those things together, top it with some whipped cream, some extra pumpkin pie spice, and you've got your own homemade pumpkin spice latte.
Yes. Delicious. Good job, friend.
Kick off to fall and all things good.
And recipes in the show notes. We'd also do a post about our recipes. So if you like adding those extra things, if you're hosting something this fall, and we also want to just shout out, do that. Open your home up, invite somebody over, encourage someone else.
Yeah.
Like, we know how important this is, and we hopefully are getting to kind of demystify a little bit. It doesn't have to be this big complicated thing. Get some extra ingredients. Try a fun coffee recipe. Make it with your friend. Have
someone over
talk about Jesus
and have that connection time. It's so valuable and it's so worth it. We had an episode in season 2 about mentoring and just how special that is. And so if there is someone that's been on your heart and you just want to encourage them, physically do that and have them over or meet them somewhere and enjoy that time.
One meeting can make such a difference for somebody, and so much discouragement. We want to be offering the other option in that. So,
All right, let's kick things off. It was a lot of fun. We did some pop-up questions on Instagram and asked for some feedback and listener questions. And so a lot of these came from there, as well as, like you said, some other moms that we know. And so we're just going to dive right in.
Yes.
All right.
You had an opportunity to speak at a
did.
church. And she's like, this is your last chance. We're about to record this episode. So people threw some in for that, which we appreciated too. So,
all right, you want to go first?
Real questions. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. This one just says marriage. What do you do when you can see your husband's potential as the head of the home, but he's not currently leading?
Oh, okay.
So we jumping right in.
Right.
Good
we are jumping right in. Yeah.
Well, one of the things, do you mind if I start on this one?
Yeah,
I was just going to say, one of the things that I can say from 31 years and where my husband was just in life when we got married versus are you in this long arc and you're writing a long story together in marriage. And so not trying to judge or take a snapshot on one day or 1 week or 1 month and say, oh, this is who he is. He's not leading, but really asking God to show you the places he is leading and the places that he does have this strength. And you see it, you're saying, seeing his potential, but just really celebrating the things. And I know for me, I had to try not to resist because I'm a pretty strong leader myself in most areas of my life. And so being able to say, where is my husband really strong and yielding to him? That's that verse about yielding. I want to share one quick thing that my mom says. Husbands cover the front door and wives cover the back door of the home. And so if you think about the things that come to your family through the front door, those major responsibilities, not that even they're making the decision on their own, but the weight of the responsibility is on them. And starting to pray for your husband and encouraging him in what is his responsibility is a huge turning point in some of this. And then you think about the back door, wives are the relationships, the details, the family, the things that are like more personal. The schedule, exactly. Like the coming and going. We use that back door more often. So I thought that was something the Lord showed her years ago, and she recently shared that with me. So thanks, Mom.
Well, and I to just piggyback on that question, I love the book The Power of a Praying Wife by Stormy O. Martin.
Me too.
I really
that changed my marriage. that book.
Absolutely. And we will put that in the show notes because a lot of times you want to give your husband a lot of suggestions on ways that they should and should not do things. But a lot of times we, as their spouse, we need to pray first and seek God in that and be able to pray about it. Now, God doesn't always work in our time. It's in his time. Right. And so we do have to, I think, use that word patience and maybe self-control sometimes. But that's to me where I would start if you do find that, and then I think depending on your spouse, you can have a honest conversation. Right. We talked about in our marriage episode about timing is everything. And maybe you can pray about the right timing to bring that up to your spouse and to be like this, you could say, this is on my heart and I would really love to share what I've been thinking about. And so maybe, asking the Lord for a good opportunity for that.
I love that. And just, we can't control another person.
Yeah.
And just being okay with that too. And saying what is my job?
Yeah.
And then making space for him in that. Love that.
So good.
Good job.
All right.
You got one?
So my first question, it's really will go right back to you, Leigh Ann, is how do you deal with the emotions of an empty nest? And I know the friend who sent this and her son recently did go to college. And I know that is just a new season. Yeah. And we've had 3 children go to college. We still have 1 at home. We have 2 years with him left. And, I'm soaking in all that time because having had 3 already step out into that college time and that season of life, I do know what to expect a little bit, and so do you, but it is different when that last one does leave the nest. Right. So I think I have to defer to you on this one.
Yes. So it's so fresh. It's so new. I will say in anticipating this coming, we have really been trying to feel like, not just for busyness sake, but like have some things to look forward to.
Yeah.
And when is the next time we're going to see our most recently launched kid? Like when are we
When's
hanging
the next
out?
date?
When are we going to a game with them or whether it's parents weekend or something like that. So having a plan of things to look forward to really helps me each time my kids have gone to college. That was really big, like that I had the plan for the next time. But I would say for us, we've been praying and preparing for months. Like, let's plan this fun day trip.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's, have a weekend away. And so doing that really soon after he left home and got his own apartment.
Yeah.
So he's only about an hour away, but still wanting to just sort of recognize the change of season in that.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's how I think my spirit and my soul kind of work is when I see something coming on the horizon that I'm preparing ahead.
Yeah.
So I'll tune back in.
Yeah, we might have to have a part 2 of that answer.
By Thanksgiving, I may be a pitiful little person.
Well, I wanted to share something I had shared with a friend last year who ventured into the empty nest season. And recently, a friend that is going through it as well messaged me, and she's like, the house is so quiet. Everything is so different. And I said, I had shared last year with our good friend Kathleen that one of the things that would be great to do is to create a new routine.
Yes.
So maybe you used to always do certain things when you would come home and you would have a family dinner, or you would have things that you did, but create a new routine. So maybe Mondays are for walking. Maybe Tuesdays are for Taco Tuesday and you go out to eat. Maybe Wednesdays is something different. And each day of the week, you create something new that you're going to do together with your spouse. And so it's a new season and it's a new routine. And it doesn't have, this is not something you have to go and spend a lot of money on. It's just changing up what you normally would do when you get home, and then that house is quiet. Right. So you're not always there.
And I would say, I don't know if you probably remember this too, but like senior year before they launch, before they move out or go to college or something, is so wild and busy and overstretched. So it feels like kind of a bigger jump down to like down to quiet and nothing, but also just saying we're going to soak up all of this.
Yeah.
And then we're going to become little experts. We're having to like learn a whole new school and all the traditions because our third son is going to a school no one has been to in our family.
Yeah.
So we're learning all about that. So
that's neat.
Yeah.
Definitely good. All right. I'm going to bounce to the next question and you can take the next one. But so someone had asked, how often do you do date nights? And maybe just expand on that. So that's kind of their
every
question.
night is date night.
I know, every night
empty
now
nest.
with the empty nest.
I make it sound so. How about you guys? You answer that one.
Well, I would say the goal is definitely.
I need a tissue. I need to cry. I'm sorry. Just kidding.
I wouldn't say it's once a week. I think that's the intention sometimes. And date night could be a date day for us as well. It doesn't always have to be an evening, but I would say twice a month is probably the realistic that we intentionally put that on the calendar to make sure that we go and do something together.
Regular intentionality. Yes. You'll hear these words a lot from us. Is it not to be legalistic that it has to be a certain time, but you know, whatever your real rhythms of your life look like, to be regular.
Yeah.
If we can't remember when the last one was, it's time.
It's time. Absolutely.
So, for sure.
Definitely.
All right. This one's just a little bit longer, but it says, at what age do you say to your adult child, you need to be more independent and pay for your own things? And how do you have this conversation without hurting their feelings? Like you're not our child anymore. And you know, the feeling that might bring up, especially hard with those adult children that are close in age. So this was just asking for some suggestions on that. Do you want to start with that one? Do y'all have like kind of a procedural way that your adult children have launched, or do you have a case-by-case basis? How do y'all do that?
I would say it's a little mixture of both, just depending on personalities and things. I would definitely think that, you know, there's been like, I would imagine steps on a stair. And so you kind of start at the bottom and then you've got 10 steps. And if you're thinking about that between freshman year of college and senior year of college, you know, and you're talking about 18 to 22, 23, you know, you're not going to do all 10 steps in 1 year.
Right.
You're going to gradually do that.
Feel like a push out.
Yes. And you want to encourage them, like, sometimes ask them the leading questions as well, to ask them to say, you know, are you ready for this? What about if we did this with you? I would say my husband has been amazing at the financial piece, where he's kind of stair-stepped them into that financial responsibility. You know, the minute they turned 18, they weren't responsible for all of their bills, but by the time they've graduated college, they're learning to juggle a little bit more, and they are understanding how to prioritize some things.
I love that.
And so I think that kind of answers the question. Is that kind of where we're going with that?
Yes, and I think it's I love that. And I think this one has the practical steps and also that emotional.
Okay.
And when you mention like a case by case of the kids, I'll just build on that.
Yeah.
That some are like already thinking about being independent and like what that might look like for them. And others, you might have to have a more direct conversation with them.
Sure.
So the thing I was going to bring up is we started... Like I had a rule that when you were 15, because in Florida, 16 is driver's license.
Yeah.
When you had your 15th birthday, you were grounded until you got your permit.
Oh.
And so it was like, this is your priority. You need to take this test and pass it. If you're not ready to drive on your own, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're not rushing you, but you need to have this done. You need to hit these milestones on the side of your preparation. When you're 16, you can get really 15 if you have an ID, a bank account.
Oh, true.
So we start your bank account at that age, and you are managing your own, like whether even if it's what you've earned babysitting or a job or something, or money we're giving you for allowance or gas or whatever our budgeting is for that. But everything is that. Yeah. I love the stair step analogy. That's perfect. But we've kind of done it like a milestone thing. At this point, you need to be managing this. At this point, you need to be managing this.
Yeah, that's good too.
It is hard, I think, emotionally when they don't feel ready.
Yeah.
And you're like, you got this. So
rather
more of a, not that we're kicking you out, but we know you can step up to this responsibility.
Yes. I think also if you can find examples of people that maybe you have a friend and their child's been successful, and you know, everyone does mature at different rates.
Right. It's not always just parenting.
Yes.
There is just.
So like if you, maybe they are being slow to do certain things, but if you could find even a peer example that someone that's kind of done it already, we've been fortunate because we have the rankings of our girls in the family. And so we can always say, well, your older sister did it here, but right. Not everyone can do that.
Right.
But you could maybe find an example with someone, with a friend, that their child has graduated. Maybe it's only a year or two ahead, but that's kind of helped them. It might help visually for them to see that.
And just from this question, I can tell that there's a compassion there. So if your kids know, if you're asking them to do something that's hard for them, mm-hmm. but you're doing it out of a love for them and that you're going to be there for them and to answer those questions and to help walk that through, they're going to know, even if it's not the answer they want to hear. I mean, we've had kids say to us, why do I have to move out? Why do I have to leave? Why do I have to leave home? And we were like, we're going to make sure you're ready when it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's not just bye, you're out, so it's both. It's a both and.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I think that's great.
Okay.
All right. So this one I think is an interesting question, and we might get some giggles on this end of it. And I don't really know what we're going to actually share, but we'll go from there.
Oh, wow.
But anyways, it says,
very
how do you navigate the harder questions of life? Are you honest about the birds and the bees, or are you more age appropriate? When do you know if they can handle the truth of a harder concept? Okay. So do you want to start that?
I do have a good example of this because we did have a big age spread. So
that's true. Yeah, 4 years
without
each.
Pointing out children, when you're expecting a baby and your older kids are like, what's the story here?
Sure.
How did this happen kind of thing.
Yeah.
I actually did a little research back then on some ideas about this, and Focus on the Family had a really good short thing that helped me. And it was like, when you feel like you need to have this conversation, and it really starts with more like hygiene, biology,
body
just
parts,
basic,
all that.
basic things about a developing young man or young woman. But they said, start slow.
Yeah.
And start to just kind of talk it through. And if that child is engaging and asking more questions, keep going.
Yeah.
If they are really overwhelmed and shutting down, or in our case, stop talking now. Okay. All right. We're done with this for today. So we were like, shut it down.
Yeah.
So, and let them circle back and come. But you've sort of initiated, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
We want to be your source for this. We don't want your source to be the world.
Yeah.
We don't want to wait too late on some things. Even if you have a late bloomer who's uncomfortable with it, you want to have that conversation, and it can be very mild and very gentle, but you've opened this lane of conversation.
Yeah.
So
and I like in the question, it says, are you honest about it? And I think absolutely, and you do need to read the room and kind of decide how honest is your child wanting, because like you said, if they're asking more questions, and when you say age appropriate, I think there is a time that you can expand on things, but what I was told by a child psychologist one time is that they're only going to absorb what they can handle.
Right.
So you could maybe say the whole 9 yards and
they'll tune it out.
They will tune it out, and they will not even, it won't even register with them. What I would encourage you to do is there are a lot of opportunities to do like a purity class that you can take your child to. Our school, we were very fortunate. We were in a Christian education school, and they offered that as a class for our kids. And so it took a little bit away from our piece that we had to do. Obviously, we supplemented it as parents, but they explained a lot of the information, and then we used that as a way to talk to them and dialogue with them. Yeah. And so that was a really neat opportunity to just kind of open that conversation. Right. And I will tell you, that was done in 5th grade.
Yeah. Yes.
So, some of us, when you think age appropriate, we don't really want to think about that.
Right.
But I mean, the kids are seeing things, hearing things, and you do want to be that authority for your child. Yeah. You don't want them to search the internet for things.
Right.
For sure.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say is, when there's a vacuum of knowledge, most kids are going to go look for that. Yeah. And so you don't want to allow a vacuum to get there. You want to be ahead of that. Be a little bit ahead and then take it slow.
There you go.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Christian education, the next question is about where should Christians seek education for their children? This one is, how do you address the struggle of whether to put your kids in public school or really any environment where you're going to see worldliness, you're going to see kind of the prince of the air, as the Bible calls the devil. Like he is here, he's around on the earth. And we really, that scripture, be in the world, but not of the world.
Yes.
And we're all still working on that. There's not like, oh, I've arrived. I'm not worldly at all, ever. But there's, the more godliness you insert into your child's life, the more result you're going to have in that. And it's not, I really wish I could tell you there is a perfect way to do this. Education is a huge piece of parenting young kids. It's a huge piece of parenting teenagers and college age kids, and where you want to invest your money, your time. For me, we did it all. Like we did a little bit of public school with our oldest. Our other two did not do public school, but we did homeschooling. We did Christian school, a little Christian school, a big Christian school. Like, honestly, you did do a lot of the different things. And we really had to pray from year to year of what was right for our family. We did not have any family in town. And so some of the years I homeschooled was really like almost on the practicality of just the age spread, the logistics. Like I wanted to spend time with my kids and not feel like I was just in the car all the time, so things like that. That is really something that I encourage you to pray about, and the Lord will reveal the best thing for your family. I mean,
and I do think it really depends on where you live. It depends on your circumstances.
Yes.
There are amazing public education schools, and I know a lot of teachers that give their heart and soul to their classroom, to teaching, to everything. We chose a private Christian school outlet because that's just what we decided, that we felt through prayer that was the best for our children. And if you ask them, some of them would agree that they liked that environment. Some wish they were in different environments.
Right.
But as a parent, I think, like you just said, you really just need to take it to the Lord in prayer and just decide and listen on what is going to meet your child's needs as well as your needs as a parent and as a family. And, I know that might even sound very simplistic.
No.
But I really do feel that's what really
I would
helps.
say one of those tipping points for me was I felt like we got to a point with public school, even for a child who was thriving in public school. It wasn't because something was wrong and that was bad. I always want to be going to something instead of running from something. But, and I think God will show you that. But we just found that we were going to be undoing a lot of things. There was a lot of contradictory things to the way we believed and the values that we had. And we just didn't want to spend all of our weekend undoing what they had done all week. So we decided to invest in a place that would agree with our moral standards and our values. So, and the educational quality is a whole other piece that gets lost in a lot of this. So they can be godly, sweet people, and if they're not actually giving them a good education. So let's do one or two more real quick.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got, do you have some good guidance for moms of girls? We have a lot of girls who want to be like their friends and not like the world. But also we don't want them to be like the world. So that preteen, teenage, do you have anything, like you had a lot of conversations about this? I did.
Oh, yes.
On, we are not trying to imitate another person or a friend. So
I really have, I don't want to say I have the answers because I think everybody is different. But what worked for us, and we do have 3 girls, and, we really sought great counsel on what should boundaries be for them? What are the things, and those kind of change each year. And we would sit down with them more than likely around the beginning of school. and kind of sit and talk to them and say, okay, these are our expectations and these are our boundaries. And sometimes, those were hard conversations, but we definitely felt like at least spelling things out to them, they would be able to know if they were crossing that line.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure if, with that question, are we talking about like social media? Are we talking about friends groups, things like that? And now the social media piece is so prevalent in our kids' lives. And I would just tell you, wait as absolutely long as you can wait. They do not need social media in middle school. They do not, it is harder when they're in high school because that is the primary way that sports teams connect with you, things, and you're kind of forced into that. But you can then get monitoring software that you can, and I always told them,
oh yeah,
the phone is not your phone, and the phone stays with me at night. And, until they reached a level of that maturity, they did not have that phone on them unless they were using it for something. And so I could monitor what they were doing. And I think that's key.
And that gives them a break too.
Yeah.
Because the standard of, we used to have, you're at school all day. Maybe you talked to your friends on the phone after school, but then you had a break and you were just with your family who adored you and loved you. And you weren't under this constant
barrage of everything
in the comparison.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to pour in the good, pour in more the biblical perspective on things. Let's remember when things came up socially, I just want to share this quick thing. When things came up socially where I was like, we're seeing some weeds here.
Yeah.
We're seeing some weeds in your beautiful garden where you're starting to imitate people or worldly celebrities or something like that aren't godly characters, aren't godly people that we want you to have as a role model. I just called it out. I wasn't like expecting them to be perfect or not love trends or be trendy or something like that. But I was like, let's remember who our goal is. We want to be more Christ-like. We're not trying to be like this. So it can be a fun hobby. It can be something that you, that things that just growing up and being around people.
And I think at the end of the day, parents still need to be parents. We have to parent our children. They need that from us and they want that from us. They will not tell you that, but they do. And I wanted to bring up the episode that we did in season 2 with Kelly McMurray.
Yes.
She had so much wisdom when it comes to how you can teach your faith to your children.
Yes.
And that would be a great episode to kind of tag into this one.
It becomes their faith and their focus instead of us having to just constantly be correcting it. And we're trying to pass that off, right? So,
definitely. Yeah. Well, we had so many great questions. We're
going to have to do some online.
Yeah, maybe we can even do a couple online and things.
There's some good ones in here.
We appreciate everyone who submitted a question, and just it has been fun. It's kind of a neat way that we can.
It's a good variety.
Yeah, a good variety on just knowing that you are engaging in this dialogue with us for season 3 has just been very encouraging to us, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I just wanted to share really quick as we close. Can I?
Yes.
Did you get to share your verse?
Well, it was going with marriage and things, and so I'll put that in our show notes.
This sort of ties us back to our Romans 8:28. Yes. So let me just read. I just want to share really quickly. Romans 8:26, or just read those last 3 verses and then it'll end on our closing verse. Is that okay? All right. In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. That's what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
How we get help. We do not know what we ought to even pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And he who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with the will of God. And we know in all things, God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose.
Yes,
so it ties
beautiful.
all that together.
Yeah.
We don't know all the answers. We're not even pretending to, but we know that the Holy Spirit is interceding on your behalf.
And I think when you think back to our answers today, I think the number one thing we said almost with every one of them is prayer.
Yes.
And so you are praying daily to try to seek that wisdom every day.
That's right. Yeah. Keep your eyes on Jesus.
Definitely.
Be refreshed.
Be encouraged and stay well grounded.